There is a plant growing wild across North America and Europe that produces a real surfactant. Strong enough to strip grease from clothing. Gentle enough to wash sensitive skin without irritation. It grows on roadsides. Nobody planted it. 150 years ago, families used it instead of buying soap. Then 3 generations forgot it existed. And at the end of this video, you will know the entire process to make unlimited soap from this one plant for free. Hi, I am Harry, and this is Garden Explained with Harry. Walk into any store tonight. Look at the cleaning aisle. Count the bottles. Shampoo, body wash, dish soap, laundry detergent, hand soap, surface cleaner. Every single one of those products contains synthetic surfactants manufactured in chemical plants from petroleum byproducts. Every single one requires a factory, a supply chain, a plastic bottle, and your repeat purchase. Now picture a plant growing along a riverbank. Knee-high, pink flowers, thick roots buried in the mud. That plant produces compounds that reduce water surface tension to nearly the same measurement as the sodium lauryl sulfate in your shampoo bottle. Museum conservators at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London use a solution made from this plant to clean textiles worth millions of dollars. Not because it is traditional, because it outperforms synthetic detergents on delicate fabrics without causing fiber damage. The Smithsonian Institution follows similar protocols. The most prestigious conservation labs in the world trust this plant over anything manufactured. Yet it does not appear in any grocery store. It is not in any commercial cleaning product on any shelf in any country. The soap and detergent industry generates over $230 billion a year. Every product in that industry requires your money on a recurring basis. This plant requires dirt and rain. To understand how something this useful became this invisible, you have to go back to a time before soap came in a bottle. 2,000 years ago in Rome, there were workers called fullers. Their job was to clean raw wool. Picture a stone basin in a Roman workshop, a man standing ankle-deep in water, stomping fleece with his bare feet. Freshly sheared wool is coated in lanolin, a thick, waxy grease that must be stripped before the fiber can be spun or dyed. Roman fullers discovered that crushing certain roots in water produced a thick foam that cut through lanolin and left the wool clean and soft. They did not understand the chemistry. They understood the result. The Latin word sapo means soap. The Romans looked at this plant and named it saponaria, the soap plant. They did not name it after soap. They named soap after it. This is soapwort. Saponaria officinalis. And for the next 2,000 years, it was one of the most quietly essential plants in the Western world. By the Middle Ages, European monks were growing soapwort in monastery physic gardens alongside medicinal herbs. Picture a Benedictine abbey in southern France around the year 1100. Stone walls, quiet courtyards, rows of herbs planted in raised beds. Soapwort grew alongside lavender and chamomile and yarrow. The brothers used root decoctions to launder altar cloths, vestments, and the linens that covered communion tables. Delicate fabrics that could not survive harsh scrubbing. The plant served double duty. Cleaning agent during the week. Medicine on the side. Monks documented using soapwort preparations for skin irritations and minor wounds. They traded cuttings between monasteries the way farmers traded seed stock. The knowledge lived inside stone walls and traveled along pilgrimage routes from one generation of brothers to the next. Outside the monasteries, the knowledge spread even further. Through the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, rural families across Switzerland, Germany, England, and France used soapwort root as their primary cleaning agent. In the English countryside, villagers called it bouncing bet. In the German-speaking Alps, families called it Siphonkraut. Soap herb. The name told you everything you needed to know. Picture a farmhouse kitchen in the Swiss Alps around 1820. A grandmother pulls dried roots from a clay jar on the shelf. She simmers them in a pot of water for 20 minutes. The liquid turns slightly amber. Foam rises on the surface. She uses that liquid to wash her hair. She uses it to scrub the wooden table. She uses it to launder linen bed sheets. One plant handles every cleaning task in the household. No store, no purchase, no middleman. The knowledge passed from grandmother to granddaughter as casually as a bread recipe. Everyone knew, everyone did it. It was not special. It was ordinary. And then it stopped being ordinary. It stopped being anything at all. In 1837, two men in Cincinnati named William Proctor and James Gamble started a company making candles and soap from animal fat. In 1885, William Lever founded a soap company in northwest England. These men did not invent soap, they industrialized it. Factories could produce uniform bars at enormous scale. The marketing message was simple and devastating. Homemade is primitive, factory-made is modern, bottled is better. By the 1940s, the chemistry shifted again. Petroleum-derived surfactants replaced animal fat and plant-based soap almost entirely. Sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium laureth sulfate. These synthetic compounds could be manufactured from oil refinery byproducts at a fraction of the cost. The price of production dropped. The retail price did not. Margins widened. Shareholder value increased. An entire industry consolidated around the idea that you cannot get clean without buying something from a corporation. Within 2 generations, the domestic knowledge of plant-based cleaning disappeared completely. Grandmothers who washed clothes with soapwort root raised daughters who bought detergent from a store. Those daughters raised children who had never heard the word soapwort. No one banned it. No government made it illegal. No corporation sent agents to pull it from gardens. The mechanism was simpler than that. A plant that costs nothing generates no advertising budget. A product that never needs repurchasing generates no quarterly revenue. A cleaning solution you make in your kitchen from a root you dug up in your backyard does not employ a sales team. The economic system that promotes profitable products simply stopped mentioning the free one. And 3 generations was all it took. Today, soapwort is classified as invasive or noxious in several U.S. states and Canadian provinces. County extension offices publish guides advising homeowners to eradicate it. State highway departments spray it along road shoulders. A plant that was cultivated in European monastery gardens for 1,000 years. A plant that Swiss grandmothers kept in clay jars on kitchen shelves is now something a county worker in Ohio poisons with glyphosate on a Tuesday morning without a second thought. The reclassification is the final act. What was once a household essential became a roadside nuisance. What was once ordinary knowledge became no knowledge at all. And the $230 billion industry that replaced it does not spend a single marketing dollar reminding you that the free version still exists. Here is what modern analysis confirms about why soapwort actually works. The roots and leaves contain compounds called saponins. The word saponin comes from the same Latin root as soap. These saponins are natural surfactants. When you mix them with water and agitate them, they reduce the surface tension of the water. This is the exact same mechanism that makes commercial soap work. One end of the molecule attracts water. The other end attracts oil. The molecule pulls grease away from whatever surface it is clinging to and suspends it in the water so it can be rinsed away. The measured performance is not folklore. Laboratory testing shows soapwort saponins reduce water surface tension to approximately 32 millinewtons per meter. The sodium lauryl sulfate in your shampoo bottle achieves 31. The difference is functionally meaningless. This is not a weaker alternative. This is a comparable cleaning agent that grows in dirt for free. And this is why the Victoria and Albert Museum uses it. When you are cleaning a 500-year-old tapestry worth more than most houses, you do not risk synthetic detergent damage. You use the gentlest effective surfactant available. That surfactant grows wild along English riverbanks. The conservators know, the public does not. Now here is the entire process, from the ground to your hands, every step. First, you need the plant. You have 3 options: wild harvest it, grow it, or buy dried root from an herbalist supplier to start immediately. Soapwort grows along roadsides, riverbanks, railroad embankments, old farmstead foundations, and disturbed ground across most of North America and Europe. It has been spotted in every single state in the continental United States and across southern Canada, from British Columbia to Nova Scotia. Look for opposite pairs of lance-shaped leaves on stems reaching 1 to 2 feet or 30 to 60 centimeters in height. The leaves are smooth, slightly waxy, with visible veining. In summer, clusters of pink or white 5-petaled flowers appear at the top. They smell faintly sweet, almost like cloves. The roots are thick and fleshy, pale yellowish white on the inside when you snap them. If you find a colony in clean, untreated soil, you have found your supply. Never harvest from roadsides, agricultural runoffs, or railroad corridors due to toxic herbicides, heavy metals, and petrochemicals. While soapwort, Saponaria officinalis, produces effective cleaning saponins, remember they are toxic if ingested and act as severe mucous membrane irritants. Mark the location. Come back in fall. If you want to grow your own, plant root divisions or seeds in any soil, full sun or partial shade. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, which covers most of the continental United States and equivalent climates across Europe. Space them 12 to 18 inches apart. Water occasionally during the first season. After that, water becomes optional. The plant adapts to local rainfall. The rhizomes spread underground and form dense colonies. Within 2 growing seasons, you have a permanent harvestable supply that expands every year without any input from you. Next comes the harvest. The roots contain the highest concentration of saponins, so they are your primary target. Harvest in fall, after the plant has died back above ground. This is when the energy has retreated into the root system and the saponin content is at its peak. Dig carefully around the base of the plant. Pull the roots. Shake off excess soil. Wash them under running water until they are clean. Chop them into pieces roughly 1 inch long. You can use fresh roots immediately, but for a year-round supply, you need to dry them. Spread the chopped pieces on screens or drying racks in a well-ventilated area out of direct sunlight. Let them dry until the pieces snap cleanly when bent. This takes 5 to 7 days, depending on humidity. Store the dried root in glass jars or cloth bags in a cool, dark location. Properly dried soapwort root holds its potency for 2 years or longer. This is the pantry model. 1 fall harvest supplies 12 months of soap. Leaves and stems also contain saponins at lower concentrations. You can harvest these throughout the growing season for lighter cleaning tasks. But the roots are the real source of cleaning power. Now, the soap itself. Take approximately 1 ounce or 30 grams of dried chopped soapwort root or 2 ounces or 60 grams of fresh root. Place it in a stainless steel or enamel pot with 2 cups or 475 milliliters of distilled or soft water. Bring the mixture to a gentle simmer over medium heat. Cover with a lid to prevent evaporation and maintain a gentle simmer for 20 to 25 minutes. Note: using hard water high in calcium and magnesium will reduce foaming efficiency, so distilled or rainwater yields the highest surfactant concentration. Watch the water. It turns slightly amber. Foam begins forming on the surface. That foam is not decoration. That is the saponin solution activating. After 20 minutes, remove the pot from the heat. Let it cool enough to handle. Strain the liquid through a fine mesh cloth or cheesecloth into a clean glass jar. Press the root material firmly to squeeze out every drop of remaining liquid. What you are holding in your hands is soap. Real, functional, chemically active soap. For laundry, add 1/2 cup of the soapwort liquid to each load. It works on cotton, linen, wool, silk, and synthetic blends. Museum conservators specifically prefer it for wool and silk because it cleans without stripping the natural oils that keep those fibers strong. Your commercial detergent cannot make that claim. When using the liquid for hair, dishes, or body wash, keep it strictly away from eyes to prevent severe burning and conjunctival inflammation. Never ingest the solution. Keep it away from pets and children, and avoid dumping excess liquid into natural waterways, as saponins are highly toxic to aquatic life. Stored in the refrigerator, the fresh liquid keeps for about 1 week. Soapwort solutions are gentle enough for skin that reacts to commercial soaps. This is not a modern discovery. This is a return to what worked before the industry decided you needed something more expensive. For delicate or heirloom textiles, this is the gold standard. Antique quilts your grandmother stitched by hand. Vintage lace tablecloths yellowing in a cedar chest. Wedding dresses stored in attic boxes for 30 years. A Civil War-era flag in a museum archive. Nothing manufactured treats these fabrics as gently or cleans them as effectively as a soapwort root decoction. Synthetic detergents break down fragile fibers over time. Soapwort saponins clean without degrading the material. This is why conservation labs at the world's most prestigious museums chose a wild plant over $1 billion chemical industry. The same solution they trust with irreplaceable artifacts is available to anyone willing to simmer a root in a kitchen pot for 20 minutes. The fresh liquid keeps in the refrigerator for about 1 week. Make it in small batches or prepare a large quantity and freeze it in portions. The dried root in your pantry is your permanent reserve, and the plant in your yard is your permanent factory. This is the part that changes everything. Soapwort is a perennial. It does not die after 1 season. Every spring, the rhizomes push new shoots through the soil without being asked. Every fall, you harvest more roots than the year before. The colony spreads wider each season. You do not replant. You do not reseed. You do not buy a single input ever again. One planting in 1 season creates an expanding soap supply that outlives you. Your children can harvest from the same colony you started. Their children after them. Think about what that means. A single decision made by one person on one Saturday afternoon builds permanent cleaning infrastructure for an entire family line. That is not gardening. That is generational wealth measured in something more honest than money. The soap and detergent industry needs you to walk down that aisle every 2 weeks. It needs the plastic bottle. It needs the petroleum surfactant. It needs the supply chain that stretches from an oil refinery to a chemical plant, to a packaging facility, to a distribution warehouse, to a retail shelf, to your shower. Every link in that chain employs people and generates profit, and depends entirely on one condition: that you keep buying. A plant growing on a riverbank does not need any of that. It needs rain. It needs soil. It needs nothing from you after the first season, and it produces the same result. Clean clothes, clean hair, clean dishes, clean skin. For free. Forever. $230 billion a year. That is what the industry earns from the assumption that you cannot get clean without buying something. Every 2 weeks, another bottle. Every month, another trip down that aisle. Every year, more money leaving your household and entering a supply chain that starts at an oil refinery and ends in a landfill full of plastic. And somewhere along a quiet road outside your town, soapwort is blooming right now. Pink flowers nodding in the wind. Thick, pale roots buried 6 inches down in the gravel, producing the same chemistry, asking for nothing in return, waiting for someone to remember what every grandmother in Europe already knew before anyone told her she needed a brand name to be clean. Nobody is going to put that on a shelf for you.